There is no action that any protester in support of collective liberation could take that is more violent than the system that they are trying to disrupt. I'll say it again. There is no action that any protester in support of our collective liberation could take that is more violent than what the state does to its own people on the regular. Do not begin to lecture our community about the virtue of peace and the vice of violence when we currently have not one but two different military branches currently being mobilized to fight against people who are protesting and protecting their communities, quite frankly, against state mandated enforced disappearances and kidnapping and family separation. And it's not like it's just the Marines and the National Guard. It's those two. And then also, no thanks to Gavin Newsom, extra CHP officers, LASD, LAPD, and then, of course, ICE, the Department of Homeland Security. That's like 6 or 7 agencies that are actively using internationally banned chemical weapons that you can't even use in warfare thanks to the Geneva Conventions. Rubber bullets, flashbangs, these less than lethal weapons that they can't even call non-lethal because they can indeed kill people because people are protesting against the violence that ICE is trying to do in our community. Like, do we understand the cognitive dissonance here? Like, we already know there's going to be non-stop coverage of any response, violent or non-violent, to state violence. But will we give that same screen time to the violence the state is committing? For example, the people that have died just this year in ICE detention. Are we going to hear the stories of people who have been forcefully sterilized in ICE detention? Are we going to follow the stories of refugees and asylum seekers that are essentially being sent back to their deaths? Or are we just going to fixate on the kids in Palestine and Los Angeles throwing rocks at the people with tanks and machine guns? Always remember who's in power in these situations and let that guide the way that you rationalize people's responses to their communities being militarily occupied.
What's going on in Los Angeles right now is actually sad because people are being separated from their family. I'm sure if you have tuned into the news, you might have seen people talk about what is going on in Los Angeles. And if you don't know what is going on, the Trump administration has moved their immigration raid to Los Angeles, which has resulted into the people there protesting. A peaceful protest that got escalated when Trump decided to send in 2,000 guards there. And I read that about 300 showed up. People are protesting, family are being separated, they are going to foster care to pick kids, and it is becoming scary. It sparked a lot of conversation. People are reacting to this raid going on right now and even calling on others to speak up at this point.
The way it's like completely out of the ordinary and normal to send in the military when people are peacefully protesting. And even if they were violently protesting, they would have a fucking right. Never understood calling someone illegal, not wanting them to have every opportunity that they can being here. Also just, coming from a mother who is an immigrant, literally left her country in time of war and crisis to come and make a better life for her and her family here. Like, it's crazy. And I stand with everybody in LA right now who's trying to fight the fucking military. Fuck the orange man.
I hate Donald Trump. I hate Donald Trump. I hate his followers. I hate his clan. It's fuck ICE. Shout out to LA. Keep doing your big one. Donald Trump history has its eye on you, and it will not be forgiving. If you are a Trump supporter, history will not forgive you at all. It will not be kind to you. And not even history after you're dead. It'll be history in like 5 or 10 years. History will not forgive you, and you will have to live with fucking voting for separating families, sending people to sea camps. You have to live with that. You have to live with that you voted for someone who is sending people to sea camps. You are just like him. Evil. I'm so sick and tired. This is so sad. This is so painful.
For those who wonder why we can never be friends with Trump supporters, this is the reason why. What's happening right now in Los Angeles with these ICE raids, that's the reason why. We're watching families be torn apart with absolutely no due process or human decency. They are raiding schools with children in them. This is what you voted for? To the people who work for ICE that are covering their face, you're cowards. And just know that you saying you were obeying orders isn't gonna slide. I'm not gonna forget this, and if you need a reminder to find out what happened to those who enforce Mustache Man's dirty work, pick up a book and find out. Because that's your fate and that's where you're headed. There are going to be people who voted for Donald Trump after this who are going to pretend that they didn't because of how bad shit is going to get. They're going to pretend that they didn't vote for this man, even though we know a lot of people did. And for Donald Trump to deploy the National Guard over peaceful protests is insane. This man wants to be a dictator, and we've been telling you this. He told you this. Ever since he got in office, he's done nothing but try to dismantle the democracy that we're currently in. If we can even call it a democracy at this point. To the influencers, especially those in Los Angeles who can look outside their door and see this happening, who haven't said anything, haven't shared any resources, haven't protested, just know that we see you. You cannot be neutral in the face of fascism or human rights violations. This is a time that is going to determine what people's characters are. And if you're going to be on the wrong side of history, just know we're not going to forget this. People need to wake up. We are watching this man try to ruin this democracy right in front of our faces. Are y'all just going to sit silently and complacent, or are you going to actually speak up or do something?
You know, guys, there are real people behind those ICE agent masks. And those real people have real friends and have real families and have real community members. And those people know who those people are. First name, last name, where they live. Now, I'm not saying to share that information. Doxing is wrong. But I am saying, though, if you know somebody who works for ICE and you are not holding them personally accountable for the absolute piece of shit that they are, if you are not shaming them directly, if you are not discouraging their continued participation in this fascist exploit, in this grotesque fascist display of power, why not? Just wondering. I think that you actually do have a duty to your country to cut this off at the head. And that does mean that wherever they go, after they take that uniform off, after they take that mask off, wherever they're laying their head down at night, wherever they go get their coffee, wherever they go interact with other human beings, they need to be met with shame, with disgust, and and that's really it. That's really it. There's no justification for this. There's no justification for unmarked vans and people who can cover their faces and have no need to identify themselves to just pull people off the street and throw them into vehicles and take them away without any due process. There's no justification for it. And so if you know anyone who works for ICE, what are you doing for your community right now? What are you doing for your country right now? Are you shrugging your shoulders because it doesn't impact you? Are you minding your business? Are you keeping your head down? Who does that help? Who does that help?
ICE is not going after foster children. He's picking up kids from their foster parents' homes. Undocumented foster kids, but kids nonetheless. Kids who oftentimes are victims of human trafficking. Kids who have no fault, and then you tell me that it was about going after criminals. And I want to know where all those people that are pro-life are, because you're pro-life until it doesn't suit you anymore, or you're only pro-life for the babies to come out, because once they're out, screw all of them. These are kids that need our protection. Just because a child doesn't fit your agenda or doesn't have the proper documentation, you don't stop caring for them. They are children who are in vulnerable state. Children who need us. I don't even know at this point. I don't know.
Don't let the media confuse you into thinking that we are losing this fight, because we are not losing. I just found out that Trump ordered 2,000 National Guard to show up to the protests in LA, and only 300 officers, soldiers, whatever, showed up. 300 when he asked for 2,000. That's a small win. There's also videos of cops literally damaging their own cars. They are getting desperate to try and control this narrative. The headlines of major media outlets right now are trying to feed us propaganda, and they're only showing very specific clips to make us look violent, to make us look like we are the aggressors, like we are not peacefully protesting. And that's not true. That couldn't be farther from the truth. Please don't let them confuse you. Keep sharing videos that you're seeing here on TikTok, because this stuff is happening live. This is the truth. Watch the lives, record the lives, share the videos with your friends and family. Show them what's actually happening. What's actually happening from people's first point of view, like through your phone. You can't edit that, you can't fake that. Share so that the right information.
Black Americans, come here. I want to talk about the LA riots, but in a way that's like removed from the emotion and the political charge that's in the air right now. I want to talk about it from like a clear-eyed, unbiased view. It'll be a little bit long, but just rock me for a bit, okay? First point is that, let's be very clear. Undocumented immigration is illegal in every country in the world. In every country in the world. I'm traveling right now. I've been out of America since February. In every country I've been to, they wanted to know the address I'm staying. That means Airbnbs and hotels. They wanted to know my return flight that I was leaving the country in. They wanted my phone number, my email address, my address in America, and my address in Europe. They wanted every single piece of information they could get about me to make sure I was not going to stay in their country. Why? Because undocumented immigration is illegal in every single country in the world. If you enter a country illegally, they can deport you, they can ban you. So like in Europe right now, I have until I think the 26th of June to leave. If I overstay that by an hour, they have automatic processes right now. I can be deported and banned from ever entering Europe again. As an American, I'm an American. I have an American passport, born in America. It's illegal in every country in the world. So let's get that clear. Now, when it comes to the riots and protesting, I'm 100% on board with people protesting peacefully, making your voices heard, all that good stuff. But my thing is, like, if you're protesting that you want to stay in America, why are you burning American flags? And nothing against other countries at all. But my point is for the narrative, right? Like, if I'm an unbiased bystander watching the news from a narrative perspective, why would you burn the American flag, the country you say you want to stay in, the country that you want to be a part of, the country that you're saying, I deserve to be here, I deserve a shot at American residence and American citizenship. This is the country you want. You're burning the flag of that country and hailing the flag of the country that you don't want to be in, the country that you fled from, the country that you say was so horrible that you ran from it illegally to risk deportation to come into America. From a narrative perspective, it makes no sense to me. It's like a lot of these people that are doing these riots and stuff, it's not even the people themselves. These are people who wanted a fight. They wanted a war. And this is going to be their excuse to start one with the government. So again, for people that look like me, Black people, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to think. The only thing I'm going to say is we should be very, very cautious about what causes we choose to throw our hats in the ring of. I'll put it that way. I'm not saying we shouldn't support our Latino brothers and sisters. My father's Haitian. I'm part Latino, right? I'm not saying we shouldn't do any of that. What I'm saying is we need to be very, very careful about what fights we choose to fight and how we choose to represent ourselves at this particular moment in time, is what I'm going to say. There are people, I promise you, in power that are just itching. They're waiting for a reason to unleash hell on the people that they don't like. So be very, very careful with narrative in narrative shaping, 100%. And then my fourth thing is I think Americans, in traveling the world, we really need to give ourselves more grace, I think. We have standards on ourselves that nobody else in the world has on their countries. Nobody else in the world. America, I think, is the only country in the history of ever that when we achieved superpower status in the world, where we could go forth and conquer every country that we basically could, essentially decided not to. Other than, I would say probably the only exception to that would be Hawaii, maybe the Philippines, Puerto Rico. The Philippines has since got its independence. I would say the only example of that would be maybe Hawaii and Puerto Rico. But like, other than that, the United States could have gone forth and conquered the entire world in the American people chose not to, mostly because we're individualistic and want nothing to do with the rest of the world. But we hold ourselves to the standard of not only we're not going to use our powers for evil, but we also must use our powers for good. And that has never been expected of any other country in the history of ever, including not now, that we have a moral obligation to go forth and help every other country that's struggling. That's never happened in the history of ever. And so I think Americans, we need to give ourselves more grace on both sides of the aisle and just in general of like, yeah, what people are asking of us, what the world is asking of us has never been asked of any country ever. And we need to be more gracious, I think, with each other. But yeah.
Can I just be real with y'all for a second? Like, this for the Christian, so you're not a Christian, then you can just move on along anyway. But like, I'm conflicted right now because I really don't know how to fully feel about this situation. Like, I am really conflicted with all of this ICE deportation and immigrants stuff going on right now. It's just I'm really conflicted as a Christian, and it's because on one hand I see families being ripped apart. You know, the kids crying, the parents being detained, and you know, you keep watching that stuff, keep seeing that stuff. You know, if you have any kind of compassion or empathy, you know, your heart will break. You know, seeing stuff like that, especially you know if you have the heart of Christ. Because as a child of God, you don't want to see, you know, families being broken up. You don't want to see children grow up without their mom or dad. You know, that's just not who we are. That's the human in me. You know, that's the Christ, that's the love of Christ that's in me. I don't want to see that. But then on the other hand, we're also looking at it as, you know, we can't ignore the fact that laws were broken, you know? And we know that we are a nation with borders and that those borders mean something. You know, because if we don't respect the law, we lose order, and that matters too. So now I'm stuck in this tension, probably the same tension that many of you may feel, but you're scared to say it. It's basically a pull between justice and mercy. It's like it's a battle between doing what's right legally and doing what's right morally. Because we know that the Bible talks about, you know, being governed under authority, obeying the laws of the land. We know that the Bible speaks about that. But the Bible also speaks about loving the foreigners, loving the immigrants, not treating them ill, treating them kind, bringing them in, taking care of them. You know, that's all in the Word of God. And I believe that's because God is just and merciful, which we know that because we know that God punishes sin. But at the same time, you know, he's full of grace. So it kind of makes me conflicted because, you know, we have different sides. Then you got people like me that's kind of in the middle of the entire situation. It's really a messed up situation all the way around, if we being honest. So if you're feeling like me, you're in between compassion and principle, you're not crazy, you're not heartless, you're human. And you're trying to follow Christ that in a broken world. Like, the problem isn't us. The problem isn't people unless you're just a heartless person. The problem is the world. We live in a broken world, so sometimes we try to make sense or try to find the best solution. And honestly, I don't think that we can. God is really the only answer to any of this. And I just want to say that it's okay to be conflicted, but don't let being conflicted stop you from caring about what's going on.
Scary. It is scary and sad. The separation that is being forced on families right now, the people who have lost their lives, detention, the people who have basically been crippled just by this news and this whole thing going on right now, it is a very sad one. There we have the people who voted for the administration in stating, oh, we didn't vote for this. We didn't know it was going to be this way. But yes, they did. Like, they really did. I saw a video. There is one of the stitches talking about how you need to hold someone accountable, especially because it's someone behind the marks. This hides people, it is someone behind those marks. If what they were doing was very okay, why are they covering their face? If you know someone who is an ICE agent, I saw a stitch talk about how you should hold those people accountable. And then there are other comments of people saying, what if this is the only job they have, like, to survive? You know, people are dying in ICE detention. People are being separated. Forced separation on families. And this could literally lead to high rate of kidnapping. Because yes, it is scary. The people are protesting because they are scared for their life. They are scared for the future of their kids. They are scared for their family. It was peaceful until 2,000 guards were held at so many headlines, making it seem like these people are very violent. There was a live I watched of the guy talking about how it's peaceful, and it is the police literally shooting from the top of a building for 2 hours straight, making it seem like the people that are protesting are the ones who are being violent. Let me hear what you guys think. It's sad all around. There's no way you want to think about it that this whole situation is not sad. People are losing their life to this day. It is sad. It's led to so many conversations. The Asian community are now being called out for not saying anything about what is going on in Los Angeles. There are a high percentage of their people there as well. The Los Angeles influencers that are not speaking up on what is going on are currently being dragged as well. Over in the next video, prayers out to the families that have been affected with this whole thing going on right now. Let me hear what you guys think in the comment section. I am going to see you guys in the next one.